is the Dublin Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu here on Trickstar Radio as we jump into another edition of the Interview Hour, our daily highlight section where we talk to different artists from around the UK and beyond about their journeys, the stuff they're working on, and of course the stuff that is still on the way. Today we're getting into a conversation with a producer I've got a lot of time for, someone whose music I've been following for a short period of time now, and I've loved everything that I've heard. A man like Sam Deeley joins us on the line. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, all good. Thank you for having me.
It's great to get you on, man. It genuinely is. What I tend to find with a lot of the stuff that I do, kind of exploring, I suppose, electronic dance music as a whole, is every now and then I'll stumble across a producer who kind of catches my ear, and I'm just interested in what they want to do. Rather than the stuff they're making, I'm interested in them, kind of where they're going with the sound and where they're pushing things to. You kind of said you're still like moderately early in your sort of running with this. So do you want to talk to me about how you first got involved with production as a kind of avenue of creativity?
I mean, yeah, well, firstly, big up and thank you for the kind words. But I mean, at school, I studied like music tech, and well, there was like music tech facilities, and there was Cubase on the computers at school. So I used Cubase, which is a bit of a rare one. But yeah, I've been interested since probably about 16, and only started last 3 or 4 years just going at it properly and trying to, and yeah, I mean, finding my sound and kind of what. And yeah, that's me. Sorry,
yeah, no, it's an interesting one, man. And obviously, the thing that's kind of drawn me towards your sound more than anything else. Bear in mind, I get sent a lot of music at this point. We get sent a lot of stuff through at 3000, and obviously Juno as well. The thing that's always interested me about your sound since I've heard it is this kind of individual kind of blend that you're able to do somewhere between garage and breaks, and it's such a sort of unique position. Like, who are the artists that actually inspired you music-wise? Because it seems like you must have such a mixed pool of influences.
Yeah, I mean, it's more, I kind of get more inspired by different tracks and songs that I hear. I mean, my inspiration list probably changes all the time, but I mean, I've been listening to Disclosure since the early days, and they've probably been a massive influence. And then like kind of jungle producers as well, like Serial Killers, and I was big into jungle, and reggae music is like reggae dub is like a big inspiration for me as well. So yeah, that's the answer.
It's kind of like a nice kind of mixed bundle then. It's really cool to hear, and then how that then translates into what you're doing sort of sound-wise. So how long have you actually been releasing music for? Because obviously when we were putting the show together, I was very keen to kind of get music from you. And there haven't been that many actual releases. So how long have you actually been putting music out?
Not that well. I have been sort of for a couple years, but I've only now just, I think, worked out where I want to go and what I'm doing with my sound, I guess. So I've only had like 3 official releases, and 2 of them have been Steppers Club, which I'm involved with. And so yeah, and then one of them was Strictly Flavour back ages ago with a track called Rinse Sound, which I mean, it was one of my older productions. I'm not as fond of it anymore, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah, no, of course, that's always the way, man. I feel getting to a point where you can look at your catalogue and go, I'm happy with everything is a myth. It just doesn't exist. Yeah. It just doesn't exist for a production angle. Now, obviously, we've got some music to talk about today. There's a really cool tune that I'm keen to discuss with you. I'm a big fan of this one, obviously, joint up with Sydney Jane and Caesar. Really cool intro track. Do you want to talk to me about this one, how it kind of came together, and the sort of how this sort of collab works? Because obviously, Sydney Jane's based over in America. Like, talk to me through the process.
Yeah. So Caesar, the rapper, he's a good mate of mine from uni, and well, the tune came about from I started trying to get into learning piano in lockdown and like jazz theory and chords, and that's where I got the chords from the track from, and I put it through these sort of vintage synth emulations, and then that's kind of where the beat came from, like Juno 106 emulation with the chords, and yeah. So I had the beat, and then I was actually going to throw it away because I don't know. I initially made it for like a little Instagram reel, TikTok style video, and I sent it to my mate Caesar, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd like to do a verse for this tune," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's give it a go." And then he sent me the verse, and I really liked it. And then I approached Sydney, who, and this was just after I'd done like come involved with the Disclosure Discord community. And I met Sydney through there, and she's a singer from LA, and yeah, we had a Zoom session, and we got the verse, her hook down, and yeah, and that's how it all came together.
Amazing, man. I love this. Is something I absolutely love, and it's something that actually has been one of the few positives that's come out of lockdown, is this, I suppose, this sort of recognition of how collaboration can now work. It's now such a normal thing to kind of get international collaborations going on, sending stems back and forward, having Zoom conversations. Like, would you say to an extent that's an area you're kind of keen to explore more now? Now it's something that you've seen happen and it's worked?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've done it a bit with, that tends to be my main way of collaborating now, is on kind of, well, Discord is quite good for it, and there's a software called Audio Movers, which you can share audio in full quality through your DAW. So that's what I've been using on like Discord, and sharing the screen on Discord as well. It's quite easy now.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess it's not the same as in person, like catching the vibe, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing, and obviously we're seeing more and more of it. I think I've spoken to people who have built almost entire albums at this point, just and like sending live music stems back and forward entirely, being in different rooms. I've heard of people literally setting up laptops in the corner of studio sessions and just watching the studio session and asking for things from a little box in the corner. But it's a crazy thing, and it's kind of awesome to see. Now, you did briefly mention there, sort of talking about the Discord server for Disclosure, and obviously off the back of that, we've seen a very cool tune from yourself. Do you want to talk me through this one before we jump into it, because we are going to listen to it this morning?
I mean, yeah. So I initially found the Disclosure community through Higo winning the competition, and I kept an eye out to see if they were doing any more competitions, because I thought I'd really love to jump in on this. And I think, and they started running a series of competitions after that main Higo one, called B. Howard, and I think it was the second one that I got involved on. And yeah, I made this tune, and I managed to win, which was quite cool. And yeah,
I mean, how does that kind of feel? Obviously, with the amount of people, especially off the sort of popularity of the first one, how did it feel to kind of come out on top of the pile?
I mean, I was speechless for about 20 minutes afterwards with my mate just trying to speak to me, and I just couldn't. I mean, it was Disclosure, a massive influence, and like, I'm massive fans of their music. So I didn't expect that to happen, and yeah, they just hit. Guy really liked the tune, and yeah, it won, which is amazing. It was such an amazing feeling.
Amazing, man, amazing. I can hear the happiness in your voice, even though we're doing this over the internet. I can hear the happiness in your voice from here. Well, we are going to jump into this one next. This is obviously B. Howard 2.0, so we're going to jump into this one, and then we're going to be back the other side to talk a little bit more about what's on the way, a release that actually landed this weekend, and of course future plans for yourself. So keep it locked and don't go anywhere, people. We're live on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. This is Breakfast with Kovu. What's happening, people? We're back inside the building. That one, B. Howard 2.0, obviously Sam Deeley in semi-collaboration, shall we say, with Disclosure on that one. A competition-winning tune. So we're going to get into more conversation next, obviously looking more to the future and what's on the way. I'm always excited to get into these conversations, especially when the release kind of rack isn't super stacked too high, because I'm always keen to hear where people want to take their sound and what's on the way. However, there has been a release that dropped this weekend. Again, out to Steppers Club each and every time. I'm a massive fan of everything that goes on at the label, and the releases especially actually, including this one. So obviously, Censor, Gold, you're on remix duty. The original's a corker. Talk me through how the remix first came together, and then, of course, where you took it more than anything else.
Okay, so, well, when Censor sent me the stems, immediately the first thing that hooked me was the vocal, the vocal that says Gold. It's like a but yeah, I was hooked off that, and I just could hear this like euphoric breakbeat vibe under it, and yeah, I just went for it. And within the first, well, I actually started trying to flip it into another 2-step garage tune, and I didn't get any luck, so and then I went with the original idea I had of the breakbeat one, and it just came together straight away. And I just built it from that initial idea of the long vocal under the breakbeat and the bass.
The thing that I kind of would say sticks out about this the most is that sort of concept of euphoria. It has a real kind of raver feel about it. It feels like a tune you want to listen to in front of big speakers in a packed out sort of crowd. Do you ever kind of envisage where tunes are going to be played as you're making them?
I did kind of get that vibe with that tune. I mean, I don't know really how to answer that, but like I try to keep that feel of like a massive like rave kind of concert feel, with like just flooding it in reverb and lots of little like effects and like noises and echoes, and just trying to fill out like a massive space with the tune, which I'd like to think I did all right, and got that vibe through.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
This is the thing. This is one of the tunes that immediately made me reach out to you, because I thought, you know what, I need to talk about the sort of process and what goes on here, because it's such an encapsulating tune. And obviously, this one has come out via Steppers Club. You mentioned earlier you're sort of involved with what they do. Like, how long has that sort of relationship been going?
I mean, God, a couple years ago now, because I'm from Oxford, and Isaac Zephyr, he was an Oxford boy too back in the day. I used to run some events in Oxford called Flavour, and we got in contact through a mutual follower who Isaac was keen to get down for some events and things, and we got talking, and I had a release on Strictly Flavour at the time, which he was fond of, and I was also, he had something out on B-Swang that, we just started talking, and then, me, him and Censor sort of had the idea of forming something where we can, like, sort of help grow each other and share audiences, and like, just help each other out, and like a kind of collective / label pushing our sound. And we got a couple of other producers in the scene involved, and it all went from there, and then that idea has formed into something real now, which is cool.
100%, man. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I love the Steppers Club movement. I love all the designs. I love the artwork. I love the sort of cartoonish nature of the artwork a lot of the time. And then obviously the music that you guys release has always been top draw to me. Like, it's one of the few labels that I'll always look out for, release pile wise, and go, cool, that's a banger. Near enough every time. It's one of those. And it's wicked to see, man. And I love the sort of concept of forming collectives around sort of not necessarily the same sort of sound a lot of the time as well, because I feel between the three of you all have this sort of UKG influence, but there is a bit more of a kind of wider scope from other areas you kind of work in. Do you feel that kind of benefits you, having that differentiation between you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does as well, to be honest with you. But yeah, kind of moving forward then, we've got one more tune to get into, which is this remix, and it came out this weekend. So before we get into it, I want to ask, like, what's next for you, maybe release-wise or gig-wise? What's on the way for Sam Deeley?
I mean, I went for a massive writer's block for during lockdown, and I'm only just sort of coming out of that now. But I mean, well, I was just making a lot of bad music, I think, and working out kind of where I wanted to go just through like trial and error. And I feel like I'm finally finding my feet now, and starting to get some tunes I'm really happy with together. And I'm just working on patterning some releases, and hopefully, you'll hear a lot more from me soon.
Very exciting stuff, man. Very exciting stuff. Well, I've got to say, dude, it's been great to have you on the line today. Thank you for taking the time out to sit down and have a conversation with us. It's great to talk.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Each and every time. Right then, people, we're going to get into this remix of Gold by Sam Deeley. This one, a censor on the original, out now via Steppers Club, so please do keep it locked. This one is an absolute banger. Following that, we're going to get into the sounds of today's edition of the Dub Shack, obviously exploring system culture and the history of reggae music from 9:30 onwards. So do keep it locked and don't go anywhere, people. This is Breakfast with KXVU here on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio in the building till 10.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.